Hey guys, how's it going?
Hi there, how you doing?
Oh, good. Who am I talking to?
This is Janine.
Janine, how are you?
Good, mate. Where are you? Emphatic. Where are you?
I'm down in New Zealand.
Oh, you're a New Zealander. Cool.
I'm a
cool.
Kiwi boy.
Oh, nice. What
Kiwi
part?
rock and roll.
Where are you? South or North Island?
I'm in Auckland, North Island.
Oh, nice.
Where about you?
Fantastic. Well, actually, now I'm in Denver, Colorado, but I'm from Melbourne originally.
You got that Aussie twang. I'm kind of going, hang on, what's going on?
Damn, look at the fancy background. Look at the fancy background. It's
Hey man, how's it going?
not bad, not bad. Look at you. Fancy.
I love graphics. I love them. They're great.
You do a good job with them, man. It looks pretty awesome.
Good fun, you know? Really good fun.
I know, and now I feel like like a schmuck.
No, I like your guitar. I like the fact you look like a traveling Wilbury from the background there, over there.
There you go.
That's cool, man. That's like an authentic background. You know, mine's fake. What if I dissolve into the background? I don't know what happens.
Look at that. Look at that. You're like in a whole space of sinking and creativity.
Yeah, well, this whole place is like that. This whole place is like that, isn't it? Really?
There you go.
It's pretty cool. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
Awesome.
Janine, come on camera and wave at us.
Hey.
Hey, how's it
We
going?
are the unmuted people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool.
Really enjoying being on the course with you guys, by the way. It's good fun. Who's not having fun? That's fun, right? Yes, cheers.
Heaps of fun. It's great. Hey, I'm walking dogs at the moment.
Okay. What's the most exciting thing about the course? All of you.
Oh, the happiness. The
All of you guys.
happiness.
You are the most exciting thing about the course. That's it right there.
Hey, whoopsie.
Baby otter is done with her milk.
Baby otter. Okay.
The baby otter wants hugging.
What's up, good people?
Please.
Hey, morning. Where are you from?
Southern Maine.
Say again?
Southern Maine.
Southern Maine. Okay, wow.
Emphatic, great to see you. Thank you for setting up that other place where we can all stay together.
Yeah, I just had to do it in case they close the other one down, you know?
Super cool. Is there
Yeah.
a quick way to, I love how you're categorizing people's different specialities, producers, beat makers. Is there a way to jump back into that specific group? Like if I'm looking for a producer in particular?
So you just go to the top right of the page and they're all shortcutted through there on the top right.
Amazing. I'll have to look it up.
There you go. And if you need a category added, I've made like 10 admins, okay? And I can make people moderators too. I think that's in case I get kicked off Facebook, you can still have it going and I can get back on. So it's a safeguard, you know?
Cool.
It's
Such a
not my
great.
page, it's our page, okay? It's not mine.
Yeah,
Hours.
that's really cool.
Yeah, man. I enjoyed doing it. It took a weekend. My eyes were ruined afterwards.
Hey everybody, sorry to be the bad guy and interrupt the conversation and everything. How's it going? Hope you're all having an awesome day. It's good to see all your smiling faces and hear you talking. And yeah, just office hours is open now for the next like hour and a half. If you got any questions, just raise your hand. Or I see you there, German. I'm unmute you right now. I think I just did. Yep. There we
go. Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Not bad, not bad. Good to see you. I have all the questions in the world. No, but I just have a couple, and I think these are kind of echoing a lot of what I've seen in the group. So hopefully they also help to answer some questions to other people, you know. One of them is about the listening hours. I know you guys have a bin, basically, or a folder where everybody's putting their songs. And you're going, I guess, in the order that the songs are received in the folder. So how long is the queue? Let's say if I put a song this week or something, how many songs are ahead? Like
I haven't even checked it. I haven't even checked it since the last time we did it. So who knows? There might be 100 songs in there. I'm not sure.
I see.
Yeah, we're just gonna get through as much stuff as we can, and I think if it gets to a point where stuff is like 3 or 4 weeks old, maybe we'll, you know, think of some. We're gonna figure out the best way to do this moving forward. We've never done anything quite like this before, so you know, just bear with us. We're gonna get through as many songs as we can, and yeah, we'll do that for about an hour and a half here in a couple hours. So
right on.
Yeah.
The other question that I had is I also have seen that a lot in the page, which is like the whole balance between releasing and non-releasing music. Like, you know, a lot of people have the question of like when you release music, obviously as an artist, you want to get exposure or you want to, you know, do a little promotion for yourself. But you've mentioned, and some people in the group have mentioned as well, that sometimes releasing the music is actually, you know, not helpful in terms of licensing, because a lot of people or sometimes supervisors look for unreleased music and stuff like that. So is there like a practice that maybe you do, maybe you hold on to the songs for a little bit before releasing them and try to shop them around, or how does that usually, what do you recommend usually for people to do?
If I'm releasing a song, I just go forward with my release plan, and if it happens to be licensable, I'll send it out to my contacts. And hang on just a sec, I just got to decline this. Yeah, I'll send it out to my contacts. Really, when you're talking about the stuff where it's like it's a minority, I wouldn't say it's like a minute minority of the briefs that come in, but I would say it's like, yeah, it's definitely a substantial minority as far as like, you know, the number of times that they're looking for something that's unreleased or something that's been released in the last like 6 months or a year. Here's the thing. Like once you get on a course of like releasing music regularly, this is going to become much less of an issue for you, because you're going to have stuff that's fresh and relevant, like kind of all the time, because you're going to be creating new stuff. And that's part of it, is like, you know, and also being able, sometimes you'll have the ability to work nimbly enough. Hey, I apologize for anybody who's on the call. Please make sure that you're muted. Everybody, when they hop on the call, should be muted. But if you accidentally or unaccidentally unmute yourself, please mute yourself again. And I'm gonna go ahead and just mute everybody here so that I think we got a fresh start here. Yeah. So yeah, hopefully that answers the question. I think it's good to. Did that answer your question, German?
Yeah. So basically, I mean, don't stress too much about the whole unreleased thing. Like, follow your plans as you go in.
I wouldn't. I mean, if you're, plus, you know, sometimes the artist angle, if something goes well with that can actually help drive, you know, that can help get you traction. So, you know, I think whether to release or not, if you're going to at least throw something into, you have to make sure when you're releasing music that you're not just putting it on Spotify. I mean, if you're just putting something on Spotify using CD Baby or DistroKid, you're probably not going to get much traction with it. But the whole conversation is like that's like totally beyond the purvey of what we do here at Six Figure Songwriting. But, you know, There's tons of resources out there for if you're doing DIY, like out indie releases and things like that. So, but yeah, like I said, like if it really doesn't usually go well if you just throw something up on Spotify. It's pretty, they just stumble upon it. I have had somebody stumble upon something once, but it only happened to me once. But yeah, it's better to have a release strategy and a plan and everything. Yep.
Right on, right on. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I see you there, KB Worley. I'm gonna unmute you.
Cool. Can you hear me now?
I sure can, man. How's it going?
It's going really well. Thank you. How are you feeling?
I feel much better. Much better.
Sweet.
Congested still. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask this question, and it's kind of for the group because I would think maybe a lot of us have it, and I'll be curious if people want to use the chat to comment as well, John, as your thoughts, because I do feel like maybe we've covered this ground, so I don't want you to, tread old ground. But
Sure.
I have a number of albums that, exist in the world. They're really well produced, and I would put them in front of everybody as if anybody as a finished product. I'm sort of going through them and listening with all of the information about targeting and songwriting that we've been talking about, trying to find, okay, what's my top 5 of these 30 tunes, potentially. So when I've gotten to that top 5, is there a best way to get those 5 songs feedback? Whether like, yes, we do think that these would be commercially viable for placement, or nah, these are still kind of living in the, indie songwriter world, without flooding your inbox. And actually, I do want to ask, because German mentioned there's a bin for us to put our songs in. And I've been seeing the link, and, for your songs consideration, follow this link and place it there. I just wanted to make sure that was the only bin.
That's the big, so we have office hours available every week where we listen to songs and give feedback. And then also, we're going to have plenty of opportunities like down the line for people to submit their music.
Cool.
But we're really like encouraging people to submit new music. If you have older music that you'd like feedback on, you could always like post your top 5 to the group and tag me in the post.
Right on.
You could always do that, and I can give you my quick take for sure. But if it's something where you want like more detailed feedback, like we do during the office or during the listening sessions every week, just throw it in. I would suggest just putting one of the songs in, because it's like I said, the list is like getting really long. By the way, anybody, please only put one song in the list. It's not going to increase your chances of having your song listened to if you throw like 20 songs in there. Just a heads up. But yeah. Hope does that help?
Totally helps. One last follow-up, because I know last week or something, the week before, you blasted out, now is not the time to be writing songs. We're not working on that yet, even though I'm sure we're all off and running. So the songs that we're submitting for consideration, should these just be work tapes of the new material that we're not supposed to be working on?
Well, the listening session is wide open. So
okay.
We tend to encourage people to submit finished tracks, but I don't have a problem with like giving feedback on a work tape either.
Great.
I would suggest it needs to be a little bit developed. Like,
of course,
it needs to be a song. At least take the time to write the song and figure out like from beginning to end what the structure is of it, kind of like the key. Do a little bit of homework. If it's a rough recording, that's fine. But I really don't want to be hearing like, just people singing into their phone or something like that. Probably isn't going to be the best use of our time. But yeah, I'm fairly open to listening to work tapes on the group. I think it's also going to get to a point where it's just like, I'm going to have to figure out, like, I want to strike the perfect balance of like the amount of feedback that I'm giving on every song and like making sure we're getting through enough of them, and just like kind of taking into account like the volume of the songs that are coming in. So it's just going to be a little bit of a balancing act. Like I said earlier, we have never done anything quite like this before in terms of like having extended listening hours. So I want to try to do the best I can to, just make it as good as it can be for everybody and as fair as it can be. So, yep, that's what I'm going to be doing these next few weeks, just kind of figuring that out.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I see you there, Anthony. How you doing?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, so when you reach out to these music supervisors, I know we're not there yet, but when you reach out to these music supervisors and they give you a reply back, and what's like the course of action like to go as far as, you know, or what kind of success maybe have you had as far as just trying to stay in contact with them, or to try to pitch something but not be like overly aggressive, or you know what I mean?
Well, I think part of it is like you gotta kind of be prepared for that. You know, you get a response from them, like what's the next action? You know, it's like it's like you need to go in with like kind of a game plan. I find if you don't, this is where like we really think it's important. Kathy and I think it's really important to put not to put the cart before the horse with some of this stuff, because if people are already, I don't know if you're doing this, but if people are going out and like reaching out to music supervisors and stuff, that's cool, but you might not have something that a music supervisor can use right now. So
Right.
like, it's just one of those things where you could go and hit up a bunch of people and then get the conversation started, and then you have nothing to follow up with. And then it's like, you know, usually if a music supervisor's, they're expecting you to probably want to send them some music at some point. So it's like, I think that's, you know, usually what happens in terms of like the communications that I have with agencies and with supervisors and things like that is you get a rapport going, and then you ask them if it would be okay for you to send them. You ask them for permission to send them songs, but you got to have the songs ready at that point. So that's kind of like, you know, as far as like keeping the ball rolling, if they respond, then you have an opening to ask if it might be possible to send them some music. And if they're cool with that, you send them some music. They might say, no, we don't really take unsolicited stuff. But it's nice to meet you. You never know how those contacts, there's different conferences that all these music supervisors go to. So you might start an email rapport with somebody, and then you go to a conference and you're like, hey, I remember you. Remember we talked about this and this. So there's ways in which, you know, the email and like the real life, it gets to be a smaller and smaller world the more you work in this. So, yeah, I think that's the other thing to think about with all this is when you're communicating with people, you don't want to, it's not like anybody's really going to take it personally or anything like that, but you don't want to waste their time, and you want to really conduct yourself like, and be ready for business, you know? And, so that's because I think like it's just a small world, and you know it's also like these people have very little time on their hands to just respond to stuff. So if you do happen to get a response, be ready and have a good attitude, and ask for permission to send them stuff. That's my best advice in terms of like when you get to the place where you're ready to do that.
Okay.
Cool. Let me go ahead and mute you again. Thank you so much for the question. I see you there, Mark Wilder. Oops. How you doing?
Thanks for taking my question. I put it up on the Facebook group as well. I'm thinking about the EP and the whole package, and really taking to heart what you've been saying about creating, you know, sort of a cohesive package of songs.
Yeah.
And one of the things that kind of has hit me is, should I be, thinking about a female voice, a male voice, one of each, mixing them together? Like, I'm not really sure about that part of it. So I just wondered if you'd give us some feedback on, you know, what you think about that, whether, you know, they should all be men, all women, a mix, doesn't matter. I'm not sure.
Sure.
Thanks.
Well, of course, man. And I replied to this quick before the call. But I think it really just depends on like what kind of brand you're putting together. I think as like with any artist, you kind of think of the EP almost like you're creating like an artist identity. You're creating some type of a brand, and some brands have like both female and male singers on them. Sometimes it's all the songs have like kind of a blended style, or like maybe 3 of the songs are led by, you know, a female, and then 1 song is led by a male, but there's like really tight like harmonies throughout the whole thing. But I think it really just depends on the vibe of the music you're trying to create. Like, I mean, if you just think of the artists that are landing placements, and you think about like, you know, their albums, most of their albums don't have like guest singers on them usually for the most part. So it's like, I would think it'd be better to come up with one killer angle, one killer concept, and then just run with that with all 4 of your songs. But that's just me. So you could always, that's just my opinion on things. But, you know, here's the one thing that I want everybody to really take to heart is that this is just the beginning of your journey down this. So you don't have to be so precious with how like you don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to like, this doesn't have to be like the most incredible thing that's ever been created. Who knows? Like it might be awesome and it might kill it. But at the same time, I think like the practice that we're trying to teach is like, is creating like a marketable brand, like a marketable identity, music that is written in a modern style that is highly marketable right now. And if you practice that, you could easily pivot after you do your first EP. If you find this didn't really work out, or I liked aspects of this, you could then pivot, create something entirely different, and just like in some ways you could just blow it up, or you could blow it up entirely, or you might find the first 4 songs were so awesome that you're just gonna like, you're gonna roll through and you're gonna make a whole album of it. So, you know, it's just like, this is just want to like, just take some of the load off, take some of the pressure off. If you put too much pressure on yourself, you're also not going to enjoy this process. And really enjoying the process is really important, because at the end of the day, whether you land a placement or not, it's like you want to like be doing things every day, working with people that you enjoy working with. You want to enjoy your life while you're doing this. So
Totally.
don't forget to do that. I don't know, kind of went off a little bit there, but hopefully that's helpful. Does that help out?
Very much. Thank you.
Cool. You're welcome, man.
Sorry.
Sweet. Kristen, Alan Farmer, I see you there. I just unmuted you, I think. Sorry, Zoom has this weird.
Hi.
How's it going, Kristen?
Hi there. You mentioned that you typically don't copyright your material. And just for fun, I like looking through the taxi listings to kind of see what's out there. And most of the time, it always says you must own or control your master and copyright to pitch for this opportunity. So my question is, you know, if there's like a turnaround of 2 weeks and you want to pitch for the song and write something specifically to fit the needs of that request, yet it takes like 3 months to officially get a copyright back, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, it's a great question. The answer to the question, I'm not a lawyer, but my understanding of it is that copyright is not something that you have to apply at the Library of Congress to actually have. Like copyright actually comes into effect the moment that you put something into tangible form and release it. And you put it onto a physical recording. There are actually things that once you do that, there are some copyright protections that kick in right away. You know, the whole Library of Congress thing is something, if you really want to be like super dotting all your I's and crossing your T's, I don't do it. Like, I'll just tell you, like, I've been working in the music industry for quite a bit of time now. I don't copyright my stuff. If I had like a major label release, I probably would. But you know, it's never once. I don't know a single person I don't know a single indie producer who really does it. I just think it's like, you don't need to do it. So when they say like you have to own the copyright of it, what they're saying is like it has to be original work. It has to be your work. So I don't think you have to read into it quite so much that you have to have like all your, because obviously like it would prevent anybody from like creating something like, you know, very, very quickly and then submitting it. Which I don't think that's the intention of most briefs. By the way, I've never seen anything I maybe have seen like 1 time or 2 times in all the briefs that I've seen where the word copyright even is mentioned. So maybe that's like a taxi thing. I don't know. Yeah, I've never even seen it in like the briefs. Nobody ever sends that, because it's like anytime they're sending a brief out, it's like implied that like it's original work. Usually they say it has to be original work. That means it's like it's actually your work. You wrote it. You own the publishing. Does that make sense? Does that help?
Yes. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So who's next? Bev, I see you there.
Hi, John.
Hey,
Hi. Good. Sorry, I don't have my screen on. I'm just eating a very late lunch. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, and you're feeling good. I'm happy to hear. You look good.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Yeah. There was a thread on the other day about when you send your songs and you have them signed with several companies. And people were saying, I don't know if I read this wrong, but so say if I have one song and I have it signed to 5 different companies, that's all right, isn't it?
I don't know. I mean, I think it's like you could send your music to like 20 companies. You could send your music to 5 companies. It might increase your chances of getting a placement. It might not. I would probably rather like put my music. This is just what I tend to do is I tend to just like take some songs and put them. I have like some songs that are kind of, I can send them anywhere in my library. And then I have some songs that are like I'm a little more strategic about, and I have like some exclusive, some songs over exclusive with like this agency or this place. And I kind of pick and choose. Cause I think like if you just submit your stuff to everybody, it just kind of, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's better to submit your stuff to like 5 different places, but, I don't know. I don't really know the definite answer to that. I just think I know from the people that I have worked with who I've talked to about this, who rep stuff non-exclusively, that it just kind of looks weird when your stuff is getting pitched from multiple angles to the same opportunity. So then what can happen is that you can get like fighting between like the different people that are pitching your stuff. So you can see it might get a little weird. Like, so for me, I would probably rather like, I just, for example, I just sent a whole album of stuff that was pitched for a specific TV show. And I sent it to an agency, and I know that agency works on specific TV shows that pretty much they take all the music for. So I would just know that like, I wouldn't pitch those same songs to like those TV shows. If I ever saw a brief, I wouldn't pitch them to those TV shows that this agency works on, because it would just be kind of stupid, because the people who like are kind of like more or less the direct pipeline for this show, they already have my stuff. So it's just going to look weird if they're like, hey, I thought we were repping you. So there's some of that can happen, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's really complicated, because I thought my whole thing is it's just to listen to what Kathy said. Pitch. She said, I pitched to hundreds and hundreds of people, and she did. And so that's what I've been doing. And then I just saw this the other day, and I said, ooh, yuck. That's weird, because a lot of my songs are Christmas songs, right? So, I've been pitching a lot lately, and I am signed with about 12 different companies, and probably 6 or 7 of those have the same song. So I'm kind of mortified now, but I didn't know that was a thing.
Well, I would say it's not, it's something that does happen and people are aware of it. I just think that the potential is there for your stuff to get to get a little confusing. Just prepare yourself. You might have to deal with a couple situations where it's like unclear where who's repping your stuff or things like that. It's just something worth considering. It's also an investment in time too. So it's like some people don't have the time to if I had like an extra like 20 hours a week, sure, I might submit my stuff to some more places, but it's like I kind of pick and choose a little more, and I don't know, it seems like it works for me. But because I don't produce, so I kind of put all my energy into pitching. By the way, anybody, Bev makes great Christmas music.
Thank you, John.
Anybody wants to collaborate on Christmas stuff?
Yes, please reach out to me. Okay, that's great, John. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Keep that in my files.
All right. I see you, Joy Bird.
Here I am.
How's it going?
It's going great. Thank you. I'm really glad you're feeling better too.
Thank you.
And you have been giving out a lot. There's a bunch of things I'm a little bit confused about. Number one is I got into this course because I have albums and I have really well produced music that I would like to pitch right now.
Sure.
So can I just do that? I mean, can I start finding the agencies that I can pitch to as I'm learning? And I've learned already a lot from you and Kathy. Yeah, because I tried several years ago I had a placement with Pump Audio.
Okay.
And got some really good, I got some good pitches there. I made some good money on that, but that was a long time ago. My second album, which is better than the first one, I think, it's got wonderful long instrumental parts. So like instrumental parts alone could be used for short ads and things like that. But what I don't know is how do you do it? Like, do you have to have tags on your songs when you pitch them? Like, do you have to have them broken down into categories, words? Like, how do you define them? How do you choose to define your?
Are you talking about like when you catalog your music and?
Yeah, cataloging it. Like, how do you and yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, so we are going to cover all of this like in pretty good detail throughout the course, but it's going to happen like later on.
Right.
The short end of it is that you need to have your stuff in a place where you need to have metadata on your MP3s. You preferably should have like artwork on them too. And you need to have like all your splits in the comments for the description of the metadata.
What does that mean? Splits.
So
no. Oh, there's no splits. There's no splits. I have got 100% control of everything.
That splits are splits, whether you own everything or not. It needs to all be laid out for.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's just like what you want to provide to people, like who owns the writing, who owns the publishing,
right?
The IPI, CAE numbers for your PROs for your different accounts, and your master split, and then then it's just metadata is actually fairly easy to do. It's like you just type the title of the song, you have the name of the album, the artist, fairly straightforward. And then, that's pretty much like of the metadata you need. That's pretty.
Okay. Oh, so you don't need like special tunes, like say they were looking for something with bicycles that's happy, that's, they've got specific things they're looking for. You don't have any place where you put that.
I've seen people try to stuff tags into the descriptions. I don't do it. I think it looks a little tacky.
Okay. Great. Okay. Don't need to do that. That's
agencies will have their own tags and they want to describe the music the way that they hear it. So usually like let the agency decide how they want to tag stuff, but you could try to throw some tags in there too. Yep.
Okay. And that's the second part of that question is what do you mean by when to be ready to pitch? What is required? Like for me, I've got these well developed and professionally recorded songs. Does that mean I'm ready? As far
I think that if you have music that people can use, you can approach them for sure. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. And I've heard music in ads and in TV and stuff that's not super slick. It's not really a big sound or anything. It's not really a big sort of orchestrated sound. Like I've heard some of the stuff we've been playing so far has been a bigger production sound. But I've heard some very, very simply done things. Just, a guitar in somebody's voice or something. It's got a nice little riff and that's good. That can be good enough as long as it's well produced. Right?
It can be. I would say that there's like I can't remember. I may have like listened to your music before, but without hearing the music, I can't comment on like what I personally feel about like the marketing of your stuff. Right. It'd just be my opinion, but you can always submit for office hours or for the listening.
Sure.
And
Well, see, I've got lots of music on different levels, and right now, for this demo, I don't have the ability to record anything on any high level. I'd have to go to one of my friends' studios and just lay down basic tracks. And I could get an okay mix doing that, but it's not going to be some of the stuff I'm wanting to do later. So it's okay for me just to record some really simple piano or simple ukulele with a catchy little song.
I mean, that's cool. I guess like the thing is we're strongly encouraging people to create an EP of original music during this course, and
Right.
you don't have the production resources set up around you right now. It's really a good opportunity to network with other people that are in the group.
Right.
And we're going
Right.
to talk more about that as it gets closer to the time of like actually like producing the music, like
Right.
how to go about like negotiating with a producer and like some of the things that you're bringing to the table. What can you bring to the table? What can they bring to the table, and finding like
Sure.
win situations. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks. Well, I already put something like that out on the Symphatic little website that what's his name? Emphatic put out together. So yeah, I've already put a call out to other musicians in this group to see if anybody wants to collaborate, and I'm very keen to do that. Yeah.
Great. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, and I will probably I'll send a tune or two to you at some point.
Yeah, please feel free to submit through to the listening. We have like an Airtable
Yeah.
for that, so feel free to drop one in. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Let's see. Next, we got Jay.
Yo, can you hear me?
I sure can. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's up, John? How you doing, bro? I had two questions for you. The first question actually is piggybacking off of somebody just mentioned this question. When you were talking about your catalog being represented by multiple agents or pitch people, and you were saying that it can kind of look weird if songs are being sent to one particular, maybe supervisor from multiple different places. And now, is that just in reference to one particular song being represented and pitched by multiple people to one person, or are you saying like you as an artist being represented by multiple different agencies is a weird look? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So there's going to be different types of deals. If you're typically agencies that sign artists, they want kind of like an exclusive kind of relationship with their artists to a certain extent. I know that most of the boutiques and all the major ones, like they want exclusive relationships with the artist, because part of like what the artist brings to the agency is like kind of the cool factor, so like artist brand like is a little different than like, for example, in my catalog, I have several different like bands, and I have several different things that I'm doing. A couple of them I have like exclusive with different things, and then I have a bunch of other tracks that are out there under different names, different projects, different collaborators. And then if I were to send all of those tracks to like 5 or 6 different agencies, the potential is there for a pitch. Some of these pitches get sent out to a lot of people. They might be getting the same song from like 3 or 4 sources. So
Right.
be a little confusing. And I would think from like the perspective of the person who is like, they're like, who is repping the song? Like it's
Right.
confusing to them. And one thing to keep in mind is that you want to make it so easy to say yes to stuff. And any reason that could potentially be a reason that somebody might be like, it's like I'm not exactly sure who reps this song, so I think I'm gonna pass on pitching this or trying to drop it in, because it's like it looks like it might be a bit of a mess to clear. You want to make so that's the thing. It's like there are definitely situations like that can happen. I'm not saying I'm sure that there's some people who do really well by sending their stuff out. I saw a post in some Facebook group that I'm in where somebody was like swearing by like sending their stuff out to like 4 or 5 or more agencies. And it's not something I feel strongly about. I feel like the whole topic is it's like a gray area right now in the
Right.
It's like it's non-exclusive, but it's like, what's the point of a non-exclusive agreement if it's like you want the people who have your music to have a stake in what's going on, and you want them to be excited about pitching you. And if they know, here's the other thing about it too, if they know that you're just sending your stuff out to everybody, it's like all of a sudden they're not so special anymore. They're not
right.
Like I think it's like more complicated than making it out to be. People are just like, oh yeah, just send your stuff out to as many people as you can. It's like, I think it's smart to just kind of think about, it's like you got to weigh the pros and the cons with it. Cause there could be cons with it.
My bad, not to cut you. Like, so it was, so like, all right, so case scenario, like it's one music supervisor, say like, you know, I had a song that was represented by Catch the Moon.
Yep.
They get that song. And say I have, you know, a whole nother song represented by another agency, and they get, that music supervisor gets another song by me, but it's a completely different song. Does that still constitute kind of looking weird, or is that okay? Or
I think that kind of stuff happens quite a bit because they realize that like people sometimes diversify. I think if it's a different song, it's probably going to look less sketchy to me.
Okay, that's what I was curious about. Yeah.
I think there's probably like levels of shadiness and sketchiness. Not saying that we're operating, and we're trying to be like, you know, good business people, and we're trying to do the best we can. I think part of, at least for me anyways, when I like choose to work with somebody is like, I want to give them a shot at repping my stuff. So there's an aspect to that is like, let me give you a few tracks and see what you do with them. And then if you don't do anything with them for a while, I might take some of those same songs to somebody else.
Yeah, no, that makes sense, because I could see the side of it where the same track getting repped could look weird. But I was curious if it would look weird with different songs coming from different agents to the same source. But that answers my question.
Okay, unless you're a big enough artist where you're repped exclusively by one agency.
Right.
Why is this?
Right.
I thought that he was with Zinc. Why am I getting a track from, you know, some other person?
No, I got you. No, that makes complete sense. The second question I had was just kind of like a question / maybe suggestion. And it's for the song submissions. And granted, I haven't looked, I don't know if you guys have changed the form at all, but I know I submitted one, and I know it was like name, track link, and it might've been some other field that I couldn't remember, but I was wondering, as a question / suggestion, if we can get maybe like a field to maybe do a brief description about, you know, the song or where it's at, and in addition to that, you know, this kind of came when you were talking about it, maybe being like a checkbox if it's like a work tape versus like a full song. It might just be helpful to kind of,
I think that's a great suggestion, because I'm probably going to be more wanting to play stuff that's a little more developed, but like I think we're gonna feel this out. It's really easy for me to add a field, so actually when I go in there today, I'll probably add something like that.
That's dope. Yeah, because I use Airtable a lot and I love it.
Thinking about that when I was taking a look at them last time, I was like, maybe we should ask for more info.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, because I submitted one, and I wanted to just kind of clarify like where the mix was, you know, where it was, and some of the things I was still working on, but I just had an idea. I thought it might be kind of cool to throw out there, but that was it.
In the past, I've like literally just had a conversation with the person before playing the song.
Right. True. Yeah.
I really like want to get through as much music as possible, so it's like I think we gotta figure out the balance.
Fill it out.
Because like, you can definitely have like a 3-minute conversation about the song before the song even plays, and then you can get a quick take on another song in that 3 minutes. So it's like, I'm trying to like figure out what's the best way to get as much music heard as possible and to give as much feedback as I can. So
nah, man, y'all killing it, bro. I appreciate it, man. That was it.
Cool. Well, thanks for the questions, man. All right. I see you there, Patricia.
Hi, John. You there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. How's it going?
Good. Sorry I don't have my camera on, but I am driving.
That's okay. Be safe.
I have a question about, I'm wondering about working with a singer as somebody that comes in and is just like a session singer and they just sing the session and you pay them and they walk away, versus working with a singer who wants to be working as an artist and using this as part of their career building.
Okay.
And if the person just wants to sing the session, you pay them, that's it, they get performance royalties, correct?
No, I mean, work for hire, so here's like the typical situations that I work with a lot of the time. And I also get hired a lot to sing stuff. And so this kind of applies to like the session work that I do sometimes. So I'll either, if I want to keep like the master, the publishing, the writing, if I want to keep everything, I will just literally do what's called a work for hire with them, which means they come in, they sing the vocals, they have a clear understanding up front. I tell them, hey, I just need you to come in and sing some session vocals on this. And, you pay a certain amount. Now, some singers won't just do, some session singers nowadays, because the voice is so important, some session singers won't do just work for hire stuff anymore. They'll require like some type of master split at least. That's what I do when I do session work, just because it's like, there's so much stuff I could be singing on. It's like I'd rather be singing on stuff where I have a chance of having something stick and getting a cut of the action. Not to say I wouldn't do session work if it paid well enough. I think there's like, you got to balance that in the negotiations with anybody you're bringing in on something. There's like, you could always like offer more money, and you'd be able to keep all your master. But some singers, they do kind of want part of the master, but you have to have that conversation with them up front. And just if it's clear that you want to just hire them, just let them know. And then some singers, they want to get involved with the songwriting. Some singers, if you involve a singer in the songwriting, then you just be, it's no different than just a songwriting arrangement. And then you'd cut them in on the songwriting and the publishing, and then they would get probably a cut of the master as well, but not necessarily. That's another thing that you got to consider. Everything is negotiable. So just because somebody writes a song with you doesn't mean they're entitled to a part of the master.
Right.
You produce.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
But they do. Here's the tricky thing about that. I'm not a lawyer, but my basic understanding is that any writer on a song has a right of first refusal to record a song. So you have to be a little careful with that. You definitely want to make sure you're on good terms with whoever you wrote your song with, because I think they have the ability to refuse you the right to record it. Once again, I'm not a lawyer. I've heard a few people say that. Yeah. But there's a lot of layers to it. Does that help answer your question? Do you have any follow-ups on that?
Yeah, I suppose if the singer said that
it's cutting a lot. You're cutting.
Oh. So let me see if I can get see if you can.
If you get into a place where you have better reception, or you want to just like post the question in the chat, just feel free to do that, and I'll get back to you. But hopefully that helps. Cool. Who's up next? Lala, I see you there.
Hi. Can you hear
how's
me?
it going? Yeah, I hear you just fine.
Hey, John. These sessions are so invaluable. Thank you so much for doing this and taking
My
the
pleasure.
time.
That's what I'm here for.
Okay, great.
Sorry about that. My phone, when it rings, it literally like takes over like part of my screen. And if you all hear that, I apologize for the interruption.
It's all good. I have an all original big band Christmas album. It's got 15 songs on it. It was done full big band symphony orchestra. I mean, it's like full on production, completely done. And with the exception of one song, which I'm getting a big name on for the duet. There's a duet on the album. I would love to, I want to get that to you all for the Christmas pitching season, but my question is this: if I just submit one song at a time through the listening sessions, I'm going to miss a lot of this, you know, the Christmas pitching season with this album of songs. Is there a way to get permission to send you all the whole album? Or
I will say this for anybody who has music that they really feel confident that we might be able to do something with it. If you want, you can post something in Facebook and just tag me in the post, and I will give a quick listen to it. And if I feel like it's something that's strong, I will just like reach directly out to you and we'll figure it out. And, you know, maybe I'm setting myself up to get like 20,000 posts. I hope not. I really want everybody who would potentially do something like that to really consider everything that we've taken into account. But I think, like, you know, fully produced big band, like Christmas stuff, I know for a fact that kind of music, there's a market for it. So, you know, I would just invite you to like, just post one of the songs in the group and tag me in the post if you want. And I'll give a quick listen. And if it's something I feel like, post your favorite one. And if it's something I feel strongly about, you know, we'll definitely move on it. But yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Of course. You're welcome. So let's see. Getting through a ton of questions today. All right, Tim, I see you there. Tim's up. Tim Malou. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Cool. How's it going?
Right. Hey, I'm doing good.
Good.
I'm the group leader of Group 7, and someone asked a question yesterday about the work tape, and I was like, I remember mentioning it a long time ago, but I don't think we're anywhere near that, right?
Yeah, we're not. The thing is, like, as far as the process, we're still in like identifying the target, and like I think that anybody who's really jumping ahead is really just putting the cart before the horse a little bit. And it's just like, I know that everybody's really excited, and it makes me excited too, because I know how much energy everybody's throwing into it. But it's like, it's really important to know what you're trying to make. And then we're going to go through, like, the thing that's cool is this next month, we're going to be going into songwriting and how we do it. And how we would encourage you to do your songwriting in the context of the types of music that you're creating. So it's going to be a really fun journey over this next month. And then the whole thing is, like, at the end of that month, all we're not asking you to have your entire EP written. We're asking you to have like one song well written. Because I guarantee if you have one song that's well written over the end of that month, it's going to be way better than having 4 songs that are, you know, they're kind of there. So, you know, it's like, yeah, we're not quite there where, like I said, if anybody wants to submit work tapes into the submission, I think we're going to probably put some kind of thing on the form that makes it clear whether it's a work tape or not, just because I'd probably prefer to screen songs that people have taken the time to fully produce, or at least get it like pretty close to that point. Because I think it's also probably going to be the most valuable for them. I think we're probably going to have at some point, I haven't talked to Kathy about this, but at some point we'll probably have, probably sometime in the middle of the month, next month, we'll have some type of session where we just go through work tapes. Maybe have like a special session where we go through and just kind of go through songwriting ideas and just, I can give like more specific feedback about songwriting, if that's helpful. So I was thinking it might be. So, yeah, does that help?
Yeah. And on the listening session, you know, we were talking about, as far as data is concerned, it just says name. So is that your name, or is that the name of the song?
Oh, just your name.
Okay.
So I know whose song it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that could be a little clearer. But yeah, I'll go through today. I'm going to go in. This will be like the second week that we've used it. So I'll go in and make a couple of tweaks for like the next iteration. I'm curious to even see how many songs are in there. I'm a little afraid to even look, but we'll see. Hopefully it's not like 300 songs.
So yeah, I thought that each week we were going to just resubmit. So I submitted one today and I submitted one last week. So I wasn't sure about that.
Yeah,
So
I think like the rule moving forward, because I'm not going to have the time to go in and I don't think that the best way to do it is just to nuke it every week, because then people who had a song screened the previous week could be like the first person to jump in and submit something. I just think it, yeah, I'm just trying to think like in terms of fairness. I think it's also like it's important to like try to get to everybody in a chronological order if possible. But we're just gonna see how many songs are in there and how fast things go. I might pick up the pace a little bit this week and see how that goes. Yeah, we'll just see how it goes.
okay, thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So next we got Madeline. I see you there. Madeline, sorry, I lowered your hand and I didn't unmute you first. You can unmute yourself.
I just did. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, great. So I guess my question is a little bit of a tag team with Mark's question. And so if you are a singer and you've got lyrics and, you know, say a whole top line that's ready to go and it could go with different genres, I guess I've got a couple questions. One, as a singer, should I be going for like a single kind of sound arc on an EP, or can I just like pitch to different producers and get really different sounds and see how those different tracks go? And then if I have a top line that could go in a couple of different ways, is it okay? And is it like, you know, like to shop that around and see what people do with it and potentially maybe even have the same thing pitched multiple times?
Sure. I think it might be a little, I'm trying to think of the word. It might be like if you sent a song to somebody and it had the same title and it was the same top line, but it was in like a different style of music, and then you resubmitted it like a couple months later in like a different style. Is that what you're saying?
Well, yeah, but like you could have somebody that takes what I sing and put it into jazz that is all orchestrated and sounds like that. Or you could have it go to an electronica producer who chops it up and throws it in and like makes it sound completely different, even though it really is the same audio line, you know?
I think it'd be way cooler to have like a jazz EP and then a couple of songs that are like cut by a remixer or something like that.
Okay, so just like record them and then
you could have like the best of both worlds, maybe. I don't know. Or you
I
could
love that best of both worlds.
You could blend the style together. Like you could have all the songs could be standard jazz songs, but you have like an EP of the standard jazz songs, but then you have a separate EP of just remixes of it.
Okay, cool.
That might be because for some places they won't be able to do anything with the jazz music, but if you have some kind of cool like Marion Hill kind of
Yeah, totally. That's what I'm
have stuff like that.
For that's on my list. Marion Hill's on my list.
Something like that could be totally like marketable, and then you could always have that in your back pocket. You could always have like just the regular standard versions in your back pocket if they need them.
Okay, sweet.
Yep. Yeah, so awesome. I think like that's all part of like that's a perfect example, everybody, of how like you can pick a style and just kind of stick to it. And if you want to try two things, you can do it, but just keep in mind, it's going to make you're going to be doing twice the work. So just keep that in mind. Oh, the other thing I wanted to say was in terms of like working with producers, just make sure that you're careful with like sending it out to like 6 different producers and having them like put together like
oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna like have people do work and then suddenly find out that there's like other people doing work. I actually had a friend that just had that happen, and he totally stopped everything he was doing to remix something and then found out that she ended up using the other guys.
It's a totally small world. It gets smaller and smaller all the time. And believe me, I saw this huge blow up thread where a producer was just kind of going off the rails yesterday, and it's like everybody talks. So like, just don't be that person.
Oh no, I wouldn't. But like, yeah,
that person who like it's like I was saying with like the whole exclusive, non-exclusive with like pitch people. It's like if I'm working with somebody non-exclusively, it's like you're working with a producer non-exclusively. You still have to there still has to be some stake with it. It's like otherwise there's no point in even like working with somebody if you don't.
Totally. I mean, like I actually haven't submitted anything to anybody. Oh, did I? Am I still muted?
As a producer and as a songwriter, I get both sides of it. So it's like, and I've seen both sides of it, so it's interesting. But it's just something I think you got to go in just kind of being aware of, and it sounds like you are. So.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for answering my question.
Of course. Yep. All right. Elaine, I see you there. I'm gonna unmute you. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
So I'm sort of trying to wrap my head around the goal of the listening sessions. I feel like I could submit songs that I've done in the past that are very well produced, but that are not, that I didn't write with sync in mind and I don't think are particularly oriented that way. Or I could submit work tapes that I've written or am writing now with sync in mind, but I'm not a producer. And so I guess like thinking about what Kathy was saying is that like she was saying like write a whole bunch of songs and then choose what you think are the best songs and then go collaborate with a producer on that. So I'm trying to like, I guess I understand like part of what the listening session is doing is like we're listening to songs and getting like the critiques of songs, and every time we hear you give feedback, it helps everyone. And then it also helps us figure out like who's doing what in the group and who should we collaborate with. But I guess I just wanted to put my 2 cents in that it might be cool to have some section of it or some part of it be work tapes because of the stage that we're in the course. If you're not a producer, then you know what I mean? You can't really take it to that level.
Yeah, I think it's obviously like totally valid concerns. And I think that like the focus right now isn't on writing songs. So focus on the listening sessions is not really going to be on like giving feedback on like songwriting ideas. Probably not going to, like I said, it's my preference to during the listening sessions to screen songs that are produced. But I would also say like to just drop a song in that like you recorded like 10 years ago that you're pretty sure is not going to be like relevant to modern licensing is probably not going to be too helpful to the group either. So,
yes.
But the thing is too, we have like, there's other groups that are on the call that submit music, and you'll be able to hear like some of them are amazing producers, amazing writers. They're like much further along than y'all are. So that's one thing to keep in mind is that like this listening session does not just contain, just like this office hours does not just contain your course. It contains like all of our courses that are currently active. So it's like, it's going to be a good experience. Like I think we're going to feel out over the next like 2 or 3 weeks how to best run this thing. I don't have all the answers right now. Like I said, I think it's going to be really valuable for everybody to have some type of a listening session that's targeted around like just the work tapes, perhaps just for the August cohort. Just because I think y'all could probably use like additional support around that time to just like, and I love doing it anyways. I love giving feedback on songwriting. I do it all the time. So yeah. So cool. Does that help?
Yeah, that makes sense. I had forgotten that there were other people on the call who had kind of gotten more advanced.
Some of them have fewer questions, but I'm sure some of them are like Bev's been with us for quite some time, and she's awesome. We have so many awesome people in our courses, as well as with our the folks that have stuck around with us after their course was over. Yeah, we like to think of this is like one big happy family. We all learn from each other, and there's people that are outside of this group that some of you may choose to collaborate with. Some of these people, we're going to be putting together lists of different resources, different producers that you could potentially collaborate with and negotiate with, and some of them may be people that are in other groups. Some of them may be people that are in this group. I'm not sure exactly yet, but because we aren't quite there yet. But I've seen some people already kind of trying to put some of that together, and I think it's great. I think like figuring out like who it is you want to collaborate with. You can never get started on that early enough if you want to get started on that. But yeah, that's that's how we're going to do these listening sessions is I'm going to feel it out over these next couple of weeks, see how it goes, keep taking your feedback, and going to make it the best I can for you.
Cool. All right. Thank you. That makes sense.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see who's next. I think we got Christina Yvonne.
Hey,
How's it going?
good. Thank you so much for taking the time just to answer all these questions.
Of course, my pleasure.
Okay, so I have 2 questions for you. I feel like I have 2 every time. So they mentioned back about like having songs for Christmas and Halloween. And I'm wondering how far in advance do companies they start looking for that?
That's a great question. That was actually one that I was going to answer earlier, but I totally forgot to do it. I wanted to say to whoever was talking about the big band Christmas album that the Christmas searches actually start in June for a lot of stuff. So, but it goes all the way through to last minute kind of stuff as well. As you know, there's so much activity. It's the biggest commercial time of the year. There's tons of opportunity. There's big money involved. So it's Christmas and holiday music is great. But it usually kind of starts, the searches typically start around June, July. In July, we sent out a sampler of our stuff to a couple of different places, and we're definitely going to be doing that more as we send out samplers on a monthly basis now. So we'll probably do another holiday sampler at some point. But yeah, holiday music, I mean, it's a highly marketable angle that you can take. So, yep.
That's perfect. Thank you. Thank you for helping me understand that. Also, I had another question. So for the it's this week is the Samantha Hilscher. I don't know if I just missed her name, but
Samantha Hilscher.
Yeah. Okay. If we can't make it to part of it, but we can make it for the last half, is there a way that when it's posted, it could be listed, be they listen to this song or this song, just have a little list?
I mean, I think it's going to be pretty easy for anybody who didn't make it to to just listen to the call after the replay, and then they'd be able to see if their song got screened. And yeah, it shouldn't be an issue, but we can we could. I mean, I can't think of any reason why we couldn't just list those out. Yeah, no big deal.
That'd be perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Have a good one.
You too.
All right, Sid.
Hey, John.
Hey.
I'm doing good. Glad you're feeling better.
Thank you.
Hey, I've got a couple of questions. As part of this process of narrowing down our target, are we going to get feedback from you and team about how marketable the target that we've narrowed down on is? And then I'll ask the second question as well, because it's kind of more further down the line. When we start working with producers, so I'm not a producer and I want to work with producers. As part of this course, are we going to talk about best practices for engaging, finding the right producers and engaging with them and so on?
Yep. For that, there's going to be, I've actually written up something about it, just kind of I'm not going to post it to the group right now or anything like that, but this is something that we're going to be going into on when it's appropriate to start approaching, because there's definitely a conversation around what it is you're bringing to the table, how to be prepared when you're negotiating with a producer, how to find a producer that makes the kind of music that you want to make, and then just giving you some resources that we have, as well as there's producers in this group, there's producers in other groups in the Six Figure Songwriting courses. So we're going to do everything we can to help connect some dots there. And then the other question, I apologize.
Are we going to get feedback from you on our targets, how marketable they are, and so on?
So I actually commented earlier on Facebook about one that somebody posted. These angles, it really should be pretty easy to tell if you're if all your songs kind of feel like they're related and they're all modern songs like produced in the last couple of years, and at least one of them has been used on like a very recent spot, you're pretty much going to be in a marketable angle. I think it's going to be hard for you. It's like the Venn diagram of all those things where that meets. I think it's going to be, if you are actually checking off all those boxes, I think it's going to be pretty hard for you to not be on target. But if you're really concerned about it, you can always like, just tag me in the post and I can chime in.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Did I get Sid? Was that you, Sid? Did I just forget to lower?
Yeah, that was me.
Okay, I just forgot to lower your hand. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I just muted myself now.
James. It's like in one ear and out the other sometimes. Feel terrible. All right, Sharon, you're up next.
Hi, John.
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, everybody. It's nice to talk with you.
Talk with you.
So I have a couple of questions about the listening hours. Are those always going to be on Wednesday at 2?
Yes.
Okay, good.
It's just like the standard time we're gonna be doing them. You don't have to worry if you can't make the listening hours. It's not a big deal. You can always watch the replay, and I'm sure you'll get a ton out of it. Even if your song gets screened, if you're not there, I'm still gonna screen the song. That's just like how I've been doing it. I think there was one time where I was like, I want to get somebody who's actually on the call for like, but because it's sometimes fun to talk about that stuff. But like I said, I'm gonna try to get through as many songs as I can today, and we'll just see how it goes today.
All right, I will start plotting that into my schedule that this goes longer, which is great. And let's see, what else to ask you. Do you ever have need of Celtic style Christmas music? Is that considered a marketable sound?
Be. I mean, I would imagine that, like, sure. I think if it's well done, it could potentially be. I'm trying to think of, like, I mean, more often they're looking for like either classic, like a lot of times, like when they're looking for holiday music or Christmas music, they're looking for like alts for like classic stuff.
Yeah.
Or they're looking for like kind of modern, like just modern sounding versions of Christmas, like more often than not public domain Christmas songs is what they're looking for, because the public domain thing makes it super easy to clear.
Right.
And but yeah, I mean,
like a Celtic wassail ancient sounding thing might not be.
I'm just thinking about like where would that get used?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Yeah, the more I'm talking it through, I'm thinking it might really limit what applications of it. But
fair enough.
not to say there wouldn't be like, maybe as like an artist release there could be some.
Yeah.
Into some Christmas playlists that way. I'm sure there's probably like a Celtic Christmas playlist somewhere.
Yeah, probably. All right. Well, I figured, you're probably looking for the more it's party season kind of vibe, but I figured
not necessarily party vibe, but it's like, I think like more of the Christmas stuff is like, they're looking for like upbeat kind of stuff or stuff that kind of sounds like, that was classic, kind of slower, heartfelt, like pull at your heartstrings kind of things. Like jazz standardy.
Right. All right, good to know. I probably won't tag you for Christmas music right now then.
It's all right. Yeah, no worries.
All right, I think that's good for me for now. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks for checking in. Joey, I think I unmuted you there. And I apologize. I think I forgot to mute you again, Sharon, if you don't mind muting yourself.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear, man.
Right on. My question is, what are some ways that we as a group can help make things easier on the Catch the Music team? As far as like bombarding you with submissions and this or that, I'm just curious.
I don't feel that like, by the way, like nobody on the Catch the Moon team feels like we're being bombarded at all. We're trying the best we can to like, we throw a lot at you and we're trying to give so much to you So sometimes it may seem like we're spreading ourselves a little thin with it. But sorry, another phone call coming in, my manager. I'll take that afterwards. But you know, we're actually like, I think we're good. I think really, like, for me, like, at least for the listening sessions, what would be really helpful is like I was saying before, to really like focus on music that is either written like from the beginning of the course, or like stuff that's like, I just think that will, because it's like me giving feedback on a song that was like 10 years ago is probably not going to turn out the way you want anyways. And it's also because it's probably just not going to be relevant to modern licensing. And yeah, so it's like, it might be better use of our time to listen to songs that are a little more like kind of on the target. But you know, I think like, I just think of like one thing, I think like maybe just like being patient and like, you know, following the course and trusting us is like probably the thing that everybody can do that would make things potentially a little easier for us. But we don't really care about that. We want to help you out however we can. And we know some people are jumping ahead and digging into the web stuff that that's like, some of it's a little outdated and it's not really what we're running you through. And that's perfectly okay. And we'll do the best we can to support everybody as they're going through this. But yeah, you know, just,
Sure.
I think that's pretty much it. You know, I think everybody's been like so helpful. The thing that's blown me away about this course so far is like how helpful everybody has been to each other. And I think that is another thing, like probably more than anything, is how helpful everybody's being towards each other. The more helpful everybody is to each other, the easier this is for everybody involved, including us, but probably more than anybody, just everybody who's in the course, because we continue to feel, everybody who's in the course continues to feel supported, and we just help each other out. So I don't know, there's a couple of thoughts.
Right on, man. I appreciate it. And I appreciate everything that you guys do. And thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Joey. Yeah. And by the way, I really love, I love how people are just like going out of their way to like create graphics, and the whole thing with the teams was really cool. I want to say, like, I saw somebody put a spreadsheet up about like how to track out like song structure and things like that.
Yeah.
I didn't even take a look at it yet, but I've always just like kind of written that out on my own, but that could be a cool resource for people. Just keep thinking about these things, because these things might be helpful to everybody. So yeah, you know.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, man. Be well.
You too, man. All right, Kristen, I see you there again.
Hi there.
Hey.
If we have submitted a song for the listening sessions last week, but we've since then updated our version, how do we deal with that, since there's no way to retract a previous submission?
Yeah, that's just like, unfortunately, it's just we're not going to, we don't have the easy ability to build a system where people can retract what they submitted. So it's just going to be a thing where if I get to your song and you really don't want me to play that song, you can always say like, hey, can you play this one instead? And it shouldn't be a big deal. You can just, you know, unmute yourself and, you know, say, hey, don't play that one or something like that. You know, if it comes to that. I'll try to remember if I come across your song to skip to another. Yep, you're welcome. Jason, sorry, I apologize. Hopefully I got your, is it Jason or Jason?
Hello, testing 1 2 3.
Hey.
Hey. Yeah, no, sorry, that's my first name, but I usually go by Fabio.
Okay, Fabio, cool.
Yeah, it's just, sorry, I'm trying to fix it whenever I come through, but I forgot this time. But hey, John, glad to hear that you're doing well.
Yeah, feeling much better.
Okay, so my question is, so we've been focusing a lot on like research and stuff like that, right? So as I've been collecting, you know, information and whatnot, I've noticed that some like TV shows and other places are kind of missing certain like pieces of information, like music supervisors or ad agencies and whatnot. So my first kind of question is more on music supervisors. So would it be, I think Kathy said something about, you know, finding your angle and using your resources. So would people that had similar jobs to supervisors be someone that we should add into our research? Like I saw someone that was just music clearance or like music coordinator or
Music
just
coordinator is kind of like the right-hand person of music supervisor. So,
okay?
Yeah.
So we should be, if we don't see like a direct music supervisor person, we can add those types of people into our research to kind of contact with. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay.
I think like some people are really hard to approach directly, and some of the people underneath them might also be equally difficult to approach, but you never know. So, yep. I think that's like, you're spot on. Like you already kind of found like kind of in those cases where you found like a music coordinator, they work with the music supervisor.
Okay. Cause I was getting kind of worried. A lot of the things that I was researching, I'm like, oh, okay, I really like this kind of like thing. And then I couldn't find who to really talk to. And so
Also, don't worry too much about like if I can't find like the music supervisor or things like that. If you make music that is very similar to it, if you make music that's really in the ballpark and it's cool and it's like not exactly like what's already been used on a prominent thing, then you're gonna have opportunities to submit that stuff. You know, you'll have opportunities through Catch the Moon, and you'll also have opportunities. You know, you'll definitely get your foot in the door that way by having like the goods. So, yeah, doing due diligence. You're not always, by the way, you're not always going to be able to find these people.
Yeah.
And you're also not going to always know like the context of the music either. Like sometimes it might be something that they pull from like an internal library. Some of these production companies have their own libraries of music. Also, sometimes they might have an internal like composition. They might have people that are like making music, like kind of almost works like a jingle house or something like that, where they literally have folks on staff that are kind of making stuff, making cues and stuff. So, so yeah, just worth. I just want to throw that in there, just not as a wrench, but just like as like it's just like something to be aware of, that you're not always going to find all the information about something, but yeah, 'cause sometimes they don't even put it online anywhere, and it's hard to know.
Okay. So that leads me to ask, so through this stage, how do you know if you're even ready? How do you know if you've done enough like of the research, enough of the searching and understanding?
You don't have to rip your hair out. You don't have to like, you know, this is not meant to be like an excruciating exercise in knowing whether you did it perfectly or not. This is like, you have to do your due diligence, but if you're, like I said, that Venn diagram of like stuff that's like modern, released in the last 2 or 3 years, mixed with stuff that's gotten placements in the last like 2 years, that like little intersection is going to be pretty damn close to something that you're going to be able to run with in terms of a direction, because I can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a marketable angle and relevant to today's marketing, to today's licensing world. And you can also just listen. We do all these calls. We do all these things where we're constantly asking experts, what are you looking for? Things like that. You can always use that to inform your research too. So there's so many places that are even outside of Catch the Moon, like different interviews with music supervisors and things you can check out that where they're like, what's getting used, and you can always go on iSpot TV, and there's so many places, so many ways to know like what they're looking for. And yeah, but just don't like, this is not like the only time that you're going to do this. We're teaching you this process so that you can do this now, and then see, and then you could, if it doesn't work, you can try a different angle. And it's like, you know, but this way of doing things, there's no way you can make music that's not like on target if it's well produced, well written, and it's like kind of in the ballpark of references that are getting used now.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that answers my question. Thanks. And shout out to all the people that have been throwing those links in there. Those have really helped me out too. So appreciate that, guys. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks to everybody who, yeah, by the way, I have so little time and attention to like even look into the chat. So I appreciate anybody who has time to answer questions or drop links or anything like that. I really appreciate it. Great, man. Wendy, how you doing?
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you this morning, John?
I feel good. How are you?
Oh, good morning from Australia. It's pretty early here. Plenty of coffee. I firstly would like to say thank you for everybody for all of your amazing input and links and support. It means, you know, immense to me. Sorry. So my question this morning, John, I produced an album in 2016 and collaborated with, you know, quite a few people. I can submit those songs to the listening session or a song from there.
One song, if you, like I said, if you feel like it's something that's like relevant to modern licensing, I think that's really the criteria that we're looking for when we're screening stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to give it a listen. Yeah, I just think that anybody who submits something that's previously recorded before this course starts, they just have to be prepared that they might not get the answer that they're looking for. But you never know. Like I've heard stuff that was produced like 10 years ago, and I'm like, this is totally relevant, and we could probably pitch this to some places like right now. So, yep.
Oh, look, the feedback could be absolutely invaluable to, you know, structuring and learning through you guys. That's why I'm here. My daughter hears my music. She's 20. She's awesome. And she says a lot of my genre is morose. But I know that you need that sort of music for some, you know, ads and for some movies, and, you know, that do have those heart exploding moments. So as in, you know, breakups and sorrow and grief. I mean, I don't know what's coming when I write most days. It's just like a download for me. So, you know, some of my songs, I wrote, the album's called Celebration of the Human Condition, and it's actually a cabaret that we played in Adelaide in South Australia. So there's quite a few deep, sorrowful songs in there about, you know, as you're growing up and, you know, we get reminded of our mortality. And so my question to you is, you know, keep writing all those songs and just know that, you know, that there's a market for them.
I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch the question. Were you asking should you keep writing that style of music?
Yes.
I think that, like, my professional opinion would be to like do the exercises that we suggested in terms of like picking the differences and then like taking whatever you've done before and seeing if there's some way, some highly marketable angle that is being used like right now in licensing, and then see if you maybe need to pivot a little bit with what you're doing to get it more in alignment with what music supervisors and agencies are looking for in terms of like just what they're using. So
okay,
that's my suggestion.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Yeah. Have a good day.
You too.
Sweet. Sonic Scott, how's it going, man?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Good.
So I have a question, but I'm just first going to say that I also was unaware that when you submit a song, it rolls over to the next week. So you got my song twice. So I just want you to know I'm not spamming you.
It's okay. No, I figured this kind of stuff is going to happen. Thanks for that, though. I know what it looks like when people spam and they bomb like a bunch of songs in. That wouldn't seem like that to me, but
cool. So my question was, I was wondering if there was like a place that we can go online where supervisors post like current jobs that they're working on with current music that they need, like in the last week or last month.
That if something like that existed, that'd be pretty crazy. I'm sure their inbox would be like unmanageable.
Okay.
The way that this works is like, so it really just is all based on the relationships the music supervisor has with the people that they trust to provide music. They may go outside of what they normally look for sometimes, but a lot of times it's within like kind of their trusted circle of like things. And then they'll send those jobs out to, they might be working with an agency. They might be working with you know, like a library, and they're looking for stuff, but it just depends on like the relationships that they have. And so what you want to do is you want to build relationships with the people who get those briefs, like Catch the Moon. We get briefs that come in every day, and we're sending music out, and it's like that's like kind of there's like middlemen kind of in that seem to like kind of, that's just the way that the industry is set up right now, because it's like it's based upon trust, and it's hard for like just impossible. Like every single music supervisor that we've had on a panel is like, it would be impossible for me to screen through every email that somebody tries to send me. So yep.
Cool. Thank you.
I'm aware of. Taxi is actually like the closest thing. I don't know if Taxi still does this, but I remember when I was like a long time ago, like several years ago, maybe somebody who's in Taxi in this group can chime in, but I know that they used to allow you to just look at the listings that they currently have, but you just can't submit to them. So that might be like another thing of research. You can literally just, I remember there was a time where you could just get on their email list and they would send you the briefs, but you just couldn't submit to them. Okay, so Eric says they still do that. So that might be a good way to kind of keep getting briefs, is like a really helpful way to kind of know whether like what you're making is something that's on target. But don't worry if you have a highly marketable angle that you don't see immediately like 10 briefs for. That's one thing I want to prep people for, because like you're not always going to see a brief every day for like the stuff that you're making. You might not see a brief every month for the stuff that you're making, but I assure you, if you make something that's really marketable, there's eventually it's all cyclical, and it comes around, and you're going to get an opportunity to submit your stuff. And then you want to be ready. You want to have all your tracks, you have all your ducks in a row, have your songwriting stuff all lined out. You want to have your tracks and your metadata, your disco all set up, and then you'll be ready to go when the opportunity comes.
Awesome. And sorry, what are briefs?
Oh, so briefs are they're basically like written. They're kind of like the orders. It's like if they were placing if you were at McDonald's and you were trying to order like whatever you were going to have for lunch, I wouldn't suggest doing that because McDonald's is pretty bad. But it's like they're looking for this song that has like these like characteristics, might have this lyric.
Okay.
Kind of the budget. This is the deadline. They list it out. We get these every day at Catch the Moon. I'm actually I'm in the process of like figuring out a way to create some kind of a brief report where we can send, like, minus the confidential information, some form of like what we get every month in terms of like briefs. It might be helpful to the students, but we're still in the process of kind of developing that. But there's places you can go to get briefs, including like Taxi. Just get on their email list. I know they send out a monthly. I think it's monthly, but it might be more frequently than that. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh yeah. Also SoundTrader. I think they have a ton of stuff. They have like a ton of briefs that are always like, you can kind of scan through what they're looking for too. That's another reason. Oh, okay. So Lois said that Taxi sends out daily. So yeah, get on their email list.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. I think I got enough time for like one more question, and then I think we're gonna call it a call. And so Annette, you are up. What's up, Annette?
Hi. Yeah, not much. My question is kind of going off what Scott was saying. If in an ideal world we would have like everything laid out for us, but in my research I was looking for a list, like a comprehensive directory of boutique sync agencies. You know, there was plenty of like libraries somebody had put out in the group, you know, big long list of libraries, things like that, but just trying to find those agencies to submit to them because they have the relationships and stuff. Is there a place to find that?
There's probably directories. I mean, you could probably literally type in music libraries directory, and you could probably into Google, and you would probably get like some websites that list out some of them. I just know off the top of my head that I've looked for stuff like that in the past, and I've had some success. It definitely lines up like a lot of like the major ones, and then some of the smaller ones. The problem is you're going to have like, there's going to be different articles where they're like almost like clickbaity, where they give you like 10 different ones, but you have to scroll through like all of them, or like, you know, it's just like not every article that you read is going to have like all the ones listed out. Some of them might have outdated information. These relationships and the contacts with them are going to change like all the time. So I don't know. I know that there was somebody forwarded me back in like, I think it was like 2015. I got like a directory of like everything in the music industry. I know there's a place that publishes some kind of like everything in the music industry for that year. I'm trying to remember what the name of the publication was. It's blanking me, but I think it costs something like $80 or something like that. And then yeah, that sounds about right. Like Music Library Report or well, it was like, oh yeah, Indie Bible. That's it. It's Indie Bible was the place. So yeah, I would think like a resource like that would probably be pretty good for something like that. We don't dive a lot into like the specific places to pitch. We bring people in from different agencies that you could take a shot at pitching at. But you know, you can always pitch to us. We will be giving you all opportunities to pitch to us. There's so, you know, as an agency and we teach, it's like there's a little bit of a conflict. We don't want to like talk, oh yeah, go to this agency, go to that agency, but there's so many resources that you can rely upon and just do your own research, find out what's like best for you. And are you in LA? What part of the world are you in?
I'm in Napa Valley, Northern California.
Okay. So you're in California. I mean, there's a ton of agencies in California, especially Los Angeles. So, yeah, you know, might be advantageous for you to find the ones that are in LA. There's quite a few boutique agencies in LA that you might be able to hit up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks, John.
You're welcome. You're welcome. That's all the time we got for now. I apologize for anybody whose hand I couldn't get to in time, but I do have to call it a call, and I'll probably see most of you here in about a half an hour when we do the listening session. So thanks for all your awesome questions, and yeah, until next week. But we'll definitely be seeing you before then. See you in a couple hours here. All right. Bye.